It should be a quick one. I don't anticipate it being very.
No rush.
Just chilling.
I want to just hang out with my children.
Yeah, you are. All right.
It is recording, guys. Have fun.
All right, cool.
Waters, you guys good?
We're good.
We got our
We're
waters.
good. Thanks.
We're good. Cool.
All right,
So how do you wanna
we're
start this
rolling.
out?
We're rolling.
We are.
Do you want to like lead this one, or you want me to take the lead, or we're
It's your show.
whatever? Okay.
It's your show.
Okay.
You take lead.
Cool.
However you want to start it off. However you want to do it. Let's do it.
Awesome. Okay. What's up, guys? Jeremy here, and I'm in a special place today. I'm in Las Vegas. I came here on a whim, very randomly, and I was like, let me shoot some content with my homies that do real estate here. So right in front of me, I have my guy, Leland Wong, super awesome dude. This is probably my second time meeting him in person. First time was in Hawaii.
Yep.
Leland is a freaking killer. He's an A player here in Vegas. We connected because he's originally from Hawaii too, and he moved to Vegas, and he's just killing it. And I just found out today when he picked me up in his Lamborghini that he's only been in the business for 3 years, and he has a Lamborghini now. So very inspiring. So today we're just gonna chop it up. I have nothing planned. I just came to Vegas to shoot some content and, find an excuse to come here on Labor Day weekend.
For sure. Well, thanks for having me.
What's up, Leland? Thanks for having me here.
Thanks for having me. This is awesome. But yeah, welcome to Vegas.
It's awesome, dude. So yeah, dude, tell me like when, so you grew up in Hawaii. Where'd you go to high school? That's the number one question everyone asks.
Cool. Yeah, born and raised in Wahiawa.
Wahiawa.
So I went to Lelehua.
Nice, okay.
And then, after I graduated, went to college in Colorado.
Okay.
And then straight from there, obviously parents wanted me to go back home like any Hawaii parent would. But I was, hard-headed.
Yeah.
So moved to Vegas. I'm like, there's something bigger for me. Obviously no family here, which is a cool thing. So everything that I built has been on my own and on my own back, which has been amazing.
What year did you move to Vegas?
I moved to Vegas in 2018.
2018.
Yeah, 2018, and graduated 2013.
2013.
Yeah.
Okay. So 2018 here in Vegas, and what are you doing in Vegas at that time?
So when I moved to Vegas, I was in the healthcare field. So this is with physical therapy, did wound care in the hospital, and then obviously good old COVID came along. Everyone loves COVID.
Yeah.
Well, in all honesty, it was a great time for any healthcare worker because you got those bonus checks. Everyone was getting it, which was amazing. But it was a grind because people would call out from work, which obviously I loved the hustle, so I would pick up as many shifts as possible, which was awesome. And then eventually you get burnout. It's like your boss tells you, oh, you have to be here at this time and that this day, and it kind of made the pivot into real estate because I'm like, I love real estate. I bought a couple houses at that point in time.
Nice.
And I'm like, what? I want to make money doing real estate. So
when you wanted to do real estate, was it you wanted to be a realtor only, or you wanted to flip houses, or both of them?
So that's a great question. So I actually started my first year in real estate as a retail agent. So strictly just buying and selling, prospecting. I did everything, the grind that every realtor experiences in regards to like going on social media trying to be like, oh, I'm a realtor. Hey, look at me. Hitting up your family and friends, be like, hey, do you want to buy a house? So on and so forth. And I was very successful at it. We were at a point in time where the rates spiked, and every agent was like, "Oh my God, the crash is coming."
It's not like selling Sunset.
No, it's not. Everyone makes it glamorous on TV, but it's truly a grind.
Dude,
and everyone gets their license because they're like, "Oh my God, it's so easy to make money." It's like that's not true at all.
Yeah.
And you know that. So
100%.
it was definitely a grind, but I think that grind and grit through that first year of real estate really helped me, become who I am.
Yeah.
So I had to hustle. Everyone was complaining about the crash. You always got to be optimistic in any industry. And for me, it was like, okay, you're talking negatively. Get out of my way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna figure something out.
Nice.
So I was very successful in my first year of real estate. I was at a brokerage where they only preached, traditional real estate, sit in open houses, which nothing wrong with it. Don't get me wrong, but it was never for me. I never liked sitting in houses and doing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So obviously I switched brokerages, which, agents inevitably do.
Yeah.
Fortunately for me, I found a great brokerage in Galindo Group.
Nice.
And from there, I'm like, being an entrepreneur, I think there's so many ways to describe an entrepreneur. People are like, oh my God, people who just want to work for themselves. Like, I honestly think an entrepreneur is someone who consistently learns, and always makes pivots. So for me, when I heard about the investment side and flipping side of real estate, I'm like, okay, I want to learn this. But in order to learn that, you have to surround yourself with people who are actually doing the business.
100%.
Because there's a lot of people who talk about it, but there's a handful of people that actually do it.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate enough to obviously meet Josh, Dino, a lot of the top flippers in Vegas. And they kind of put me under their wing, which I'm very grateful for, and mentored me into how to prospect for deals. I do like I want to say 95% of my deals on MLS, which
Yeah.
is the
Oh,
craziest
wow.
thing. Yeah. So second year obviously went into that. 3 or 4 months of not making a single dollar.
Yeah.
Like just learning the game. And
So pause real quick.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
So that first year and second year, you're talking about grind. Did you leave healthcare 100% and then went to real estate?
yeah.
Oh wow.
100%. Like
Okay.
I'm one of those people that if I'm gonna go into something, I gotta go 100% into it.
All in,
Like
right?
like same thing as like anything in life, bro.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have fun, go 100% in.
Yeah.
Like
So how are you surviving in that first year when you just have real estate? Like it was just straight a grind and you made it work.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously have your little war chest that you save up. Don't just jump in
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
have no money
Yeah.
in it. So I was financially I'm very smart about that where I understand the financial risk, but the risk or the reward outweighs the risk.
Yeah.
So for me, I built up a little war chest in healthcare. Obviously all those fun little checks for showing up to work and all that fun stuff. And then I was like, you know what? I have just enough to dive into something new. Or obviously, I mean, I don't know how it is in Hawaii, but in the state of Nevada, like you have to pass your license and you have to wait like an 8-week period after that to get your license, especially to your brokerage. So during that period of time, I was reading contracts, learning the game.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I got my license, I was able to sell my first home within a week.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And how old were you?
So I just turned 30, so it was 27 at the
27,
time. Yeah.
dude.
So,
That's sick.
but there's a lot of cool people that are way younger than me that are absolutely crushing it. And that's why that's the other thing too, is like, I don't want, everyone always does the age thing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
oh my God, I'm so old. Like, I don't know if I could restart my business.
Oh, no,
Like
no.
anybody could start at any point in time in their life.
You're
And
never
that's what I
too
realized.
late or too early.
Never,
Yeah.
never. And that's what I truly love about, if you are an entrepreneur, like always wanting to learn, like you could start at 60 and you still be successful.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But yeah, that's when I made the pivot. So have your little war chest,
Mm-hmm.
jump into something new. You may fail, you may succeed, but always be optimistic that you always succeed.
Yep.
That's the way I look at it.
I love that, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm noticing a trend here. So I remember you saying you were in the healthcare field during COVID and you were picking up everyone's shifts. You're like, oh, I want to grind, I want to grind. You get into real estate and you're like, oh, I want to grind all of this. Then you learn about flipping. Oh, I want to grind, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of grind with Leland Wong, and I fucking love that.
Yeah, thank you.
So where does that come from? Because I know I consider myself a hungry person. I met other hungry people, and I feel like everyone's motivation or drive is different. Some people, their drive is to prove someone wrong. Some people's drive is to like support their kids. You know what I mean? Was it like something for you, like in your childhood, that maybe like you grew up not in a, not exactly rich or, fed with like a silver plate, or maybe like there was, I don't know, some trauma, whatever it is that drives people, what drove you in the beginning?
That's a great question, and it's pivoted so many times in my short career, because initially, my initial drive was just my family.
Yeah.
Like obviously, mom and dad still at home. All my family's back home in Hawaii.
They always supported you?
Yeah, they my family was I want to say well off. They were middle class for sure. I mean, I know there were points in times where my mom would struggle, and my dad would struggle, but at the end of the day, I think that's where I got the mentality of always grinding from. My mom's email is literally workaholic.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
I think I inherited that from her. But growing up, I've always been I would say an oddball of the group. Like I would always find creative ways to make money, and obviously it's funny enough in like middle school I got suspended for selling candy. I'm sure everybody in Hawaii has done that.
Yeah.
Everybody in Hawaii has done that. I mean, selling candy and everything. But in middle school we were selling like pixie sticks with lihimoi powder in it.
Nice.
And I got suspended for that.
Oh my God.
And then obviously I lied to my dad. I was like, oh yeah, no, I even the principal buys it, and then they come to find out that he didn't buy any, but I was making a lot of money that way, and then got suspended. But I've always had that drive, and then slowly as I progressed into real estate, my drive came from like exactly what you said. I mean, proving people wrong.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of naysayers in any industry where they're like, when you tell somebody something new that you want to do, you really learn who your real friends are.
100%, bro.
Because there's some that are gonna be very doubtful.
It's like, ooh, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that. Why would you do that?
Yeah, that's
like,
risky.
100%.
You're already set in the medical field. Why would you try to be different?
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Like, oh, you're making great money. Why would you leave that comfort or that shield? But that also is the reason why my friend group has changed so drastically as well. You'll learn that. I mean,
100%.
as an entrepreneur, you'll go through this phase where you outgrow your friends,
Yeah.
which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Believe me,
Yeah,
I'm still in contact with some friends that are comfortable.
Yeah.
They're in their little shell.
Yeah.
They're completely comfortable, and I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
But for me, like the growth in my friend group has made me into the person I am, and ultimately, the group of friends I have now are just straight hustlers.
Oh,
all business owners,
100%.
A
Dude,
players.
I walk into this office, dude, and I was telling Leland off camera, like, I just feel the freaking winning energy here. You know, like in Hawaii, like you said, you know, you kind of outgrow your friends through the years as you like progress in other things, and it's like nothing. It's not like a jab at them. It's just like one thing I noticed is like you just can't relate to the conversations anymore. Like when I'm flipping a bunch of houses, the problems I'm having that I want to talk to someone is like, dude, I need to raise some PML. I got to make my interest payments. But then like the conversations that, you know, old friends would make is like, oh, dude, I got like PTO for like these weeks. And I'm just like, what the fuck is PTO?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's just the reality. You know?
is.
But nothing, you know, it's just growth.
It's 100% growth, but also, you know, everyone sees the glory and all the good side of like whatever you're doing in life, whether it's real estate, whether it's, you know, you're starting your own business, like whatever it is, they always see like the Lamborghinis, they see, you know, the partying, they see all the great times, but they don't realize the struggle that you're going through. Like
all of that came with the price.
100%.
Money, mental, you know, fuck, dude,
and that's why I think a lot of people fail to realize that, like, you know, the life of entrepreneurship is very glamorous in a way because you have your freedom, you have the ability to say, you know, give the middle finger to the man or, you know, basically cut off people if you need to.
Yeah.
But they fail to realize how tolling it is on us. I mean, even being very successful, you still have to worry about, like, again, your interest payments. Like if you're doing private money, hard money, like where's that next check coming from? You have to grind. So it's like I said, I love the entrepreneurial spirit, but for me, the entrepreneurial spirit to me is just consistently learning because you always have to be able to pivot. Like I mean, I'm sure in Hawaii it's been the same way. In Vegas, the market has slowed substantially. So the people who are able to make that pivot in their business are going to be very successful. Which, you know, so I mean, I think the statistic for at least Clark County, 5,000 agents left the industry in the past 6 months.
Oh, it's rough out here.
So again, it's the strong survive, and the strong are the ones that are able to make quick pivots.
Yeah. I have a question about the pivot thing.
Yeah.
So with every entrepreneur, you know, whatever we're pursuing, whether it's like a business idea or maybe like an avenue of like marketing or anything like that, what is the difference when you're approaching something and you're like, okay, I got to pivot or I got to push? Like, you know, you're trying to do something and you're like, no, I just need to push more and do more of this versus like, okay, this is not working. We need to pivot.
Gotcha. No, that's a great question. And again, this is the funniest thing because I'm so new in the industry, right? I'm still learning the push and pull.
Yeah.
So for me, in my first 3 years of real estate, I've always been pivot. I've never been the one to over push things because if it's not working, I'll just pivot.
Okay.
But
can you give an example of that?
Yeah. So for instance, I mean, you know, retail was great for me my first year of real estate, and then ultimately I learned that, you know, I didn't like the grind. You know, the market slowly slowed down a little bit. So I made the pivot into the investment side of real estate because I've realized that, you know, it's not worth doubling down on my marketing spend for you know, the retail side. So I made the complete pivot to, you know, obviously it cost me time and you know, the learning curve, but that 4 months, you know, 10x my business in terms of the investment side.
Yeah. So for those watching that don't know what he's talking about, so retail agent, basically your normal realtor helping buyers and sellers, and it makes sense because I felt that too. It's like when the interest rates spike, the retail market dries up because no one wants to buy. You know what I mean? And it's hard to sell 100%. Because no one wants to buy. You know what I mean? So I made that pivot too. I was like, okay, I need to focus on doing my own deals. Because that's where you can like make things happen versus like a retail agent, you're at the mercy of the market and interest rates.
Yeah, and it's definitely a lot more control. I mean, at the end of the day, and that's the other aspect of retail and the investment side is like, you'll learn that. I mean, you know this as well, but as a new agent, this is for all the new agents out there. Don't let emotion get in the way of a contract, because that's what happens with a lot of newer agents. They get an email, a strongly worded email from somebody, and then they get butthurt over it. It's like, listen, like nothing is personal in this industry, 100%. And you'll probably do business with that person again. So control what you can, but never let emotion get in the way of a transaction, because at the end of the day, so we have this saying here in my brokerage at least, and it's kind of like our mantra, I guess, as you will. We do ABC, always be closing.
Yep.
Like no matter what it takes, get a deal done. Like believe me, like there's times where I've sacrificed my full commission to get a deal closed, and most agents are not willing to do that.
They're not, yeah.
And the thing about it is, it's very short sighted because. That one deal you may close where you give up, $15,000 commission may lead to them buying 20 more properties from you.
Yeah, tell me about that. Like, what's going on through your mind when you're approaching a situation where, like, okay, I still need to close this deal. I'm not going to get paid, but I'm doing this because, and then you were saying.
Yeah, a lot of people are very short-sighted in the way that they operate their businesses, and that's why a lot of businesses close really quickly. I mean, a lot of realtors leave the industry really quickly because they're very short-sighted. They think they could make a quick buck and run.
Yeah.
But in any industry, whether it's real estate or selling water, like you want to provide a service and provide more in value than you're receiving compensation. So for me, it's all about finding those people that if I have to, like I said, again, I've done this multiple times. You could ask a lot of the agents here. I've sacrificed commission in order to maintain a relationship with somebody.
Wow.
Where I may not be making a buck right now, but I'm very my vision for my business is very farsighted. So I like to, obviously the short-term decisions lead up to that long-term goal.
Yeah.
But I don't mind taking those small hits along the way where you
have a feeling that it'll lead to something bigger.
Yeah, I do, but also it's just being a good person. Like I've given up commission on some commission, or I've given up commission on some transactions where I know I wouldn't get anything in return in the future. But God willing, I get referrals.
Yeah.
So that's where I think a lot of people are very short-sighted, in at least the real estate industry, where it's like, oh my God, I'm not giving up a percent of my commission, and I'm like, listen, like
you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
100%. I mean, $10 is better than zero.
Yeah.
Like, come on, take it.
And what I think too is like what people don't understand with what you just said, that is an example of risk.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? I think that if I sacrifice now, it's going to lead to something bigger. That is a risk right there. And it doesn't always pan out. Like you said, like you could, make that sacrifice and it doesn't lead to anything.
Yeah.
But because we're entrepreneurs, we'll take that risk every single time. And if you take it many times, most of the time it will lead to something bigger.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right, and that's where I think a lot of people don't understand that. Where sure, we make great money. I mean, we're everybody makes great money at being an entrepreneur, and that's why it's so glamorous. But they don't realize the exchange of value for that. So if you take a massive risk, you could lose a lot.
A lot, yeah.
But in the event that you get lucky and you win, yes, you'll win a lot. But they don't realize that massive. Like I said, they don't see the backside of like you stressing about, oh my God, is this gonna close? Oh my God, my money's on the line.
Yeah.
And that's where I again, I commend a lot of entrepreneurs in the industry because it's a risk business.
Hard.
It's a hard business, and people don't realize that. But yeah, that's kind of my story and my pivots. In regards to the pushing side now, going back to the pushing. So I've actually made a pivot recently, actually. Again, this is my pivots. Where I am more pushy. Where I know that. So it comes down to building your reputation first and foremost. Like I think that's the most important thing. Is like building your reputation, building the relationships, in order to be able to be that pushy person. Because if you don't have any credibility, like if no hate on new agents, but if you have no deals under your belt and you try to be pushy to an agent who's experienced,
it's like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah, who the hell are you? Like get out of here. Like So I think there's a certain timing, if you will, of learning the pushing. But for the most part, as a newer agent, I think the pivots are going to be way more beneficial than being pushy because I've been pushy in the beginning and I've butt heads with a lot of agents. I thought I knew my shit.
Oh yeah.
And I did. Don't get me wrong, I did know my shit, but was it right for me? No. So I've kind of made this belief in my head that if it doesn't make any money, then it doesn't make any sense. So if I'm gonna pursue something, like if I'm gonna come after you, Jeremy, if I'm like, Jeremy's a listing agent on this transaction, and I want to send Jeremy a strongly worded email, I will read that email 3 times to make sure like it's worth my time. Because if I'm gonna send this just to piss you off, like where do we get out? What do we get out of that? Nothing. Nobody wins in that situation.
It's just ego, right?
Oh, it's 100% ego, and that's where I think a lot of people need to kind of learn that.
Chill.
Because I've made that mistake. And it took me a very long time to realize, like, listen, if this email is not going to make me money, then it's not worth me sending it out. It's just kind of how it is.
It's just unnecessary friction. And like you said, it's all about, like, in this community, it's all about, thinking long term. And it's like,
100%.
hey, I could be doing business with this person again in the future.
You 100% will if your vision is farsighted. Like if your goal is to be in the industry for 1 year, good on you. You can burn bridges with everybody.
Yeah.
But in any like state or whatever state you're licensed in, it's a longevity game. Like you want to build a reputation where, I mean, I just posted it on my Instagram the other day. You want to build a reputation where your name closes deals before, you even write an offer.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, ooh, that was a banger.
Yeah, it's a banger one because it's true. Like, I call agents now and they're like, Leland, like, I'm like, yeah, hey, I'm trying to buy your property.
Yeah.
Like, and they would pick my offer over somebody that's 10,000 higher just because
they know you.
They know me and they know that I'll close. Yeah. That's the big thing too. Is like,
Leland doesn't fuck around.
Yeah.
I know he's good for his word. We've done business before. If Leland's going to send something in, it's a for sure.
It's a done deal. He's not going to play games. He's not going to price reduce me. He's not going to do all this crazy stuff.
Yeah, he's not going to come out like, I don't know what you guys call it. In Hawaii, it's called J1, the home inspection period.
Oh, okay.
Contingency. Home inspection. And, I see so many agents do this. They come at a high price, right? They do the inspection and then boom, they just fucking slash you and say, like, give me this, give me that. It's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I hate that.
Yeah. So for me,
don't do that, guys.
Yeah. Don't price reduce everybody. It's not a good way to do business. But if it's warranted, then you absolutely do it. Yeah. But no, for us, like at least my team, we actually waive all that.
Oh wow.
We waive our due diligence periods. We EMD hard immediately. That's how serious we are in our offers. Like if we get an offer from us, it's literally gonna be like a slam dunk for you because. We ran our numbers. We walked the property. We had our contractors go. We have all our bids done even before we send the offer in. So that's why for us, we are so confident in what we do that we're able to waive every single contingency. Oh, wow. Sure, we'll make some tweaks. Maybe seller covering title policies, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. But we will never go back unless we send we have. I mean, I'm sure you have this too. Is like we send an offer in, but an agent doesn't respond to us for 6 months.
Oh,
like obviously, we have that sometimes. And
damn.
It's just part of the game. And then the agent's like, "Hey, are you still good with your offer?" I'm like,
what?
No. So those are the one or two caveats where we do have to go back on our word, unfortunately. But that's because
it's been 6 months. Like, that's warranted.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, we just had an agent that reached out to me this morning, actually, funny enough, where she was like, "Hey, Leland, we got your offer back in February. Like, are you still good on your offer?" And I'm like, "We just ran the property. Market has changed drastically. We have to be $50K less." I mean, it's just the fact of the matter. She got mad at me. I'm like, I mean, what do you get out of this?
Yeah. What do you want?
I mean, you're calling me. It's, if you sold it to me then, I would have taken that risk again. And, hopefully I would have made something or I would have lost. But that was a risk that I'm willing to take. So
I want to ask a question about like that process too. So you said, no due diligence, you waive a lot.
Yeah.
So that's one strategy. And then there's another strategy, which is coming in at like soft numbers. Maybe your offer, you want it to be lower, but you offer, and then you offer knowing that you're going to try to get some reductions. What do you think of that strategy versus what you just explained? Yeah,
so I used to try that strategy, but I never liked it.
You never liked it, yeah.
Yeah, the reason I didn't like it is because I always put myself in the shoes of the listing agent.
Yeah.
So if I got a soft offer, like, hey, we're at this number, and then, I came in and tried to get like a 20K reduction.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, like this happened.
Yeah, and like I said again, I mean, you hit it right on the head. Your word is your bond.
Yeah.
Like, if you build a reputation for someone who's always going to reduce, guess what? When you run across that agent again, they're probably not going to accept your offer because
it's like, oh, I know this guy. Like he's going to fucking pull the rug out of under your feet. At the end, right?
Exactly. And the other thing too is like when it becomes easy for you, it becomes your reputation. So like if you consistently do that and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna outbid every investor in Vegas by $5,000 and then lock it up. We call it locking it up. I don't know if that's and then reduce every time to get to your number. Like it builds that reputation that nobody wants to work with you.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is like the investor community is so tight. Oh, yeah. Almost everybody's at the same number.
Yeah.
At that point, it just comes down to
your name.
Your name, 100%. And that's where
that's a good actually observation. Like
if
you're running the numbers, everyone is basically around the same. So how do you make yourself different?
Exactly. And that's where people, I think, forget that.
Yeah.
Like people think that they're sending an offer and yes, you could beat me by $1,000, but that's you squeezing your margins, which is completely fine. Do what you got to do. But I will never bend over backwards and force myself to go $5,000 higher to get a deal done.
Yeah.
Because again, risk.
Yeah.
Why would I risk going 5,000 higher? It doesn't sound like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, all it takes is one sewer line to be broken, and there's my $5,000 again. You know, so I personally like to stamp my numbers, and I know that there are some newer acquisitionists, newer agents in Vegas, and obviously out of state that try to buy in Vegas that want to just beat me out by $3,000 or $4,000, and by all means, take
Go
it.
ahead,
Yeah, but for me, I like to stick to my numbers. I don't like the soft offer thing.
Yeah,
It's just kind of how I operate my business, and you know, I feel like it helps strengthen relationships with these agents because you know they know it's a slam dunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Out of your business, so like fast forward today.
Okay.
What is your business mostly like percentage wise consists of, like retail and then investing?
Gotcha. So I've actually, again, pivoted one more time.
Nice.
So I've kind of systemized my business to where I have a retail side now. So I have a great agent. Her name's Kitty. Shout out to Kitty. She actually handles all my retail, whether it's buyers or sellers.
Yeah.
The reason why is she's so good at it. Like,
nice.
believe me, I'm great at it too.
Yeah.
But there's a point where it's tolling. Like, you know, you have to nurture these leads. Like a lot of people are first time home buyers.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of nurture them and walk them through the process.
Hold their
hand.
hand. Yeah.
And for me, I mean, it's not that I don't mind doing it because I have no problem doing it, but you know,
It's a lot of mental bandwidth.
it's a lot of 100%. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
But it's also delegation, right?
Yep.
So if I'm able to delegate that task where you know it drains me, I don't know if you ever did that. So it's like a 4 grid. It's like delegate, elevate.
Yeah.
So
I've heard of that.
you kind of just put things in boxes like what brings you happiness, what you like doing, you know, what drains you, so on and so forth. So, you know, I kind of did that for myself in the beginning of the year, and I'm like, listen, like I loved this because it makes me great money, but it also drains me.
Yeah.
So I basically move those boxes and put somebody in the position who actually likes it and actually gets fulfillment out of it.
Yep. That's awesome.
So for me, it's not that I'm completely away from my retail side. I still do some retail, but Kitty is my go-to for that side.
Yeah.
Then also, you know, I have a team for my off market. So, you know, I've always hated cold calling. I hate that. Like, I hate trying to convince somebody to like me if you don't like me.
Like what? Like you don't know me? Like whatever, dude.
Yeah, and also nowadays there's a lot of risk involved with it. I mean, again, it comes down to risk tolerance. Like DNC list, you call a DNC list, you could get popped for like what $15,000 every call.
Oh, wow. Damn,
so you call them 20 times trying to get an offer in. Like there's your assignment and everything. So I have a team that we delegated that to, and then also we just made a pivot into novations. I don't know if you're familiar. I don't know
Yep, I've done some novations.
So yeah, and for those of you who don't know what a novation is, it's basically a net listing. I mean, we're not going to sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
It's just a fancy way of saying that to get around the loophole of being a net listing.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And then we basically get a contract on the property at a set price, and then anything from the sale price to that contract price, yeah, we make that. But also the other thing too is we might put money into the property. Like if it's a property that needs new flooring, we might just go in and put new flooring. If the property needs to be cleaned, we'll get it trashed out and cleaned to make it marketable to the property or marketable to the market. But yeah, so we've made the pivot to novations as well. What else do we have? We have our creative finance side. So that's another thing that brings me fulfillment. I love creative finance. And the funniest thing is like, I was doing creative finance before I ever heard of Pace Morby and all these sub 2 people. And it was just basically me and my attorneys. I'm like, hey, I want to try to do something. Like, I want to try to make a move. I want to try to build my portfolio because, you know, being in Galindo Group, you know, again, shout out to Galindo Group. I've learned that cash flow is king.
Oh, yeah.
Before I used to be a hoarder. I'm like, dude, I have so much, you know, equity in my properties that I can never touch. Like, oh my God, I'm rich. But
on paper,
I'm freaking amazing. But then I've realized that, you know, as you continue to grow, cash flow is your ultimate king. Because if you could grind it out in your early years where you could make have 20 cash flowing properties. Oh yeah. Like you'll do really well. You can travel the world, you can do your thing, and then you always have your, you know, if the market continues to go up, then great. Then you have a little war chest in equity. But no, I've learned a lot being here, and I think it's just surrounding yourself with a bunch of, you know, I don't want to call it sharks because we're not sharks. We're just great people.
A players.
A players, yeah. Being surrounded by A players, you know, you elevate yourself. And funny enough, when I started real estate, I was not an A player. So I made that transition into becoming I wouldn't even say I'm there yet. That's the funniest part. It's like you're constantly progressing. And for me, I'm just, you know, always wanting to learn and continue to grow. So I would never consider myself an A player, but I want to become an A player.
Of course.
Yeah.
What is your definition of an A player?
An A player is someone who moves mountains. Like I think it's somebody who, you know, if they put their mind to something, they'll overcome any obstacle, and they are able to delegate tasks very easily. And they know themselves very well where they could see where there, you know, there's flaws in their business, and they're easily able to pivot and make that happen.
Nice. And self-aware, right?
Self-aware. Awareness is a huge thing in being an A player. And for me, you know, as successful as I've been, and, you know, I consider myself a partial A player because I understand where my flaws are, and I
A
know
minus, right?
A minus. Yeah, I give myself a B plus. We'll get a B plus right now.
Same.
Yeah, but no, yeah, and for me, I just don't. I'm working to become the A plus player.
Yeah.
And that's gonna take time, and it may take time, or it may just be me continue to learn and grow as as I go.
Speaking about pivots in your like whole career, what was the hardest pivot you had to do? And it could be hard for any reason. Maybe like it took you so long to understand to make the pivot, or you didn't want to make the pivot, but you had to.
Yeah.
So tell me about your hardest pivot in your career.
Oh man, in my career, so
Yeah.
there's been nothing but multiple pivots in my career. But let's stick to real estate side. I mean, the biggest pivot for me was obviously going from retail to the investment side.
Okay.
Like people don't realize, people just think it's just numbers and they throwing imaginary numbers, comping, yada yada.
Yeah.
But like I said, I took 4 months off to learn that side of real estate. Like,
Wow.
And then obviously during that 4 month period, there was
Zero
doubtful
income.
periods. There was
Yeah.
zero income. There was doubt in my mind. There was a point where I'm like, oh my God, if I can't find, like, if I don't know how to analyze a property or see value or calculate rehab budgets, like,
Yeah.
I would not be successful in this.
Yeah.
So, during that 4 month period, I would be going out following, a lot of the top flippers in here, following their contractors, figuring out what the price of like rehab cost was to better my numbers.
Were you doing a lot of work for those flippers, like for free, or just to learn from them, or you just shadowed them?
No, so I shadowed them, which I'm very blessed to have them. But also the other thing is this is where the grind comes in. It's like I would look up on the MLS. I don't know if you guys call the MLS as well. You probably do call it MLS. Okay, cool. I would look up every flipper's deals on the market.
Yeah.
Because you could see what they bought it for. It's public record.
Yep.
And then I would kind of see the pictures and I try to estimate in my head what they put in for rehab budget. So I literally created, and I showed Josh this when I first got into it, is like I created a spreadsheet for every flipper in Vegas.
Wow.
And every deal that they bought.
Yeah.
And then from there I was able to analyze like, okay, so if I offer this much on this property, they wouldn't buy it, so on and so forth. So
you basically analyzed their buy box.
Oh, 1,000,000%.
That's awesome.
And not only that, I dissected their entire, I guess, portfolio. I see what their products are sitting, and I see why they're sitting, and then I see what price points products are moving at, and what finishes they're moving. Like there's so many caveats to the flipping side that people don't understand. They think you just buy a property,
Make it look
LVP,
nice.
LVP paid. Let's do an accent wall, some LED lights up there, and it'll sell the product.
I'm laughing because literally what Leland just said was what was going through my mind when I started flipping.
Yeah.
LVP, accent wall. I'm even gonna like put some fucking pictures on this.
Yeah. No. It's exactly
It's
that.
way more than that.
Oh, 1,000,000%. And then people don't realize, like, your fixtures. I mean, are you gonna go with black fixtures?
Yeah.
It's kind of outdated now.
Yeah.
I mean, or you're gonna go with the bronze or the gold fixtures, which are kind of trending back in, or wood tones.
Yeah.
Wood tones are huge right
Yeah.
now. So that's the other thing too, is you have to almost have a crystal ball in the back of your head. Like, okay, me being a flipper, where are the market trends going?
What's hot right now?
What's
right?
hot? Where is what are people buying right now? Because if you get stuck in the past, your product's gonna sit.
Yeah, like it's not like the gray anymore.
Nope.
Like it's all very like warm tones. Which when I started noticing that, I was like, oh shoot, because I'm colorblind.
Oh,
so I'm like, dude, I don't know how I'm gonna do this anymore. But like one thing I learned, like one of my pivots was I stopped doing things alone. I started partnering up with people.
Smart.
Because like I'm not good at the construction side, project management side, even the designing side.
Yeah.
But what I'm good at is finding deals through my connections, my social media. So I just pivoted. I'm just gonna focus on what I love, like what you said.
Nice, yeah.
And then I delegate, or even just partner with the people who are good at that stuff.
Oh, let me ask you a question then.
Yeah,
Jeremy.
ask anything too, dude.
Cool. Partners are huge in our industry.
Yeah,
I mean, partners and relationships. Like, what do you look for in a partner, and how did you find your partners?
Okay, so I'll start with like the first time I partnered with someone, I lost $150,000. Yeah, so this guy was a realtor. He's a freaking clown. And I was still new to flipping, but I was this was like 2021. I just made $120,000 on a flip that took 60 days.
Okay.
So I'm like high on my horse. I'm cocky. I'm buying anything right now.
Yeah.
And this guy convinced me it was a good deal. Wasn't a good deal. And he was like, oh, let's partner. I'm like, okay, let's partner. First mistake, I didn't get anything in writing. It was a handshake deal. And in Hawaii, like you think everyone's your friend. Like we're all boys,
Yeah.
And things started going south. Like it wasn't selling. Interest rates just hiked up. This was 2022, and I'm like, oh my god. And I'm literally in vacation in Italy right now. And I text him, hey dude, can you give me another your half of the share of the interest payment? He's like, hey bro, sorry, but like I don't have any money. Like, And I'm like, well, are you going to be able to take this loss with me? And he's like, sorry, bro, I can't do it. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, dude, you are my partner on this. Like, we're going to lose 150. You need to come up with your 75. And he told me, like, at the beginning of the deal, oh, I have, like, Tesla stock that I could sell, which I'm pretty sure he was lying, you know? And sure enough, he just stopped replying, and then it was shitty. So I had to lawyer up, send him a demand letter. Long story short, we settled, and it was a really shitty settlement. So that was my first taste of partners. Wow. But it did teach me a valuable lesson of getting everything in writing and, you know, just verifying who your partner is, make sure they have a track record. So after that, I learned, okay. And then I realized, okay, this guy who was my partner, he was just me. He was just like me, a realtor. You know, like he didn't know anything about construction. He didn't know about like, because what I like with working with some contractors who do flips, they also kind of know what like is good, what sells, the design. Exactly. So they also give me some input. He gave me nothing. He was just, yeah, let's do it. So now one criteria I have when I partner with someone is that they have to like whatever my weaknesses are has to be their strengths. So one of my next partner, one of my good buddies, Warren, shout out Warren Rubin. He was he's a electrical engineer. He's good at math, good at Excel sheets, good at like detail stuff. Nice. For me, I'm super ADHD. Like I overlook the finer details, but I'm good at getting deals, good at negotiating.
You're good at just running it,
running and gunning. Yeah. So I partnered with him, and you know, he wrote up a JV agreement. We did everything in writing. In the JV agreement, he's like, "Hey, Jeremy, this is your task, this is your responsibilities, and this is mine." Blah blah blah, and like it was just set. You know, like he was in his lane, I was in my lane, and it was super good. Awesome. And now when I do bigger projects, I partner with my contractor. So he handles all the construction and all that. And what's cool is he has relationships with DPP in Hawaii, which is like the #1 deal killer when it comes to permitting and all that. It kills deals like with the lengthy process. But because he has a good relationship with DPP, like it makes construction like smooth. 100%. And then my job is just to find the good deal and then sell it when it's done. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like how I do partners now.
Gotcha. I mean, I know that you operate multiple businesses. I mean, you have multiple partners. Yeah. I mean, so what do you look for in someone outside of real estate now? I got to ask. Because obviously I know that you look for people, you know, who have strengths where your weaknesses are. Mm-hmm. But have you ever, I mean, for me personally, I have partners that, you know, we kind of have similar strengths. Yeah. But, you know, obviously different personality types. So that's why I want to know, like, Jeremy, tell me like other business partners. I know you have multiple businesses going. I want to know all your partners. Like,
so I think one thing that I pride myself on is like when I do partnerships outside of real estate, I know when to take a back seat when it's not my forte. Last year I opened up a bar with my buddy Anthony. He's like a total A player, dude. He had like the financing side set. He, you know, was in the Marines. He owns like a really, you know, like an 8-figure business right now. He knows that. For me, I was good at the social media. I was good at like the marketing and all that. And so that's why we combined together to like do the whole bar thing. The way I look at it is kind of like when LeBron came to Miami. This was Dwayne Wade's team, right? Yeah. But Dwayne Wade was like, hey, LeBron, this is your team. And he took a back seat, you know? Yeah. And it's like whenever, especially in male-dominated industries, there's always going to be egos, you know? It's like, no, I'm the alpha. You know, I'm the alpha. 100%. So for me, it's like I'm used to being, you know, a dominant player in my field. But when I go into this field and I'm partnered with Anthony, he is like 100 times, like way more experienced than me. And I'm aware of that. But I don't try to challenge him. I don't try to overstep him. I trust his word and I take a back seat. So that's like that. And then when I had like partnered with my girlfriend, we own a salon together. Nice. Like I'm good with the business side. She's not really good at the business side, but she knows the whole hair side, how to manage a salon, you know? So I just let her, I'm like, okay, you handle that, I handle the finances and all that, you know? So I don't try to overstep. I don't try to tell her like, oh, you should put this decoration here. You should put the seats here and the mirrors here. Like, I'm like, that's you know what I mean? And I don't want to try to learn that. Gotcha. So I think it's just understanding what I'm good at, understanding what the business is, and like, I guess, of course, the context, you know, and just like, okay, what section of this business do I need to take a back seat on? What section do I need to lead? Kind of going back to the bar, like Anthony, he's not really into social media. I get on social media. So he puts his trust in me to handle that side too. Gotcha. So it's kind of, it takes people who are self-aware and can put their ego to the side. That makes a good partnership. You know?
That's awesome. No, that's spot on, bro. I mean, that's exactly what it is. Great.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, no, that sums it up for me as well. I was
Yeah.
you know.
Have you ever been burned by a partner?
So I'm very fortunate to where, I haven't been burned financially by partners. Obviously, I've been let down by partners.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about me is, I'm obviously very friendly and, very open to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And they understand how I am as a person. Like Luis is one of my really great business partners.
Yeah.
I mean, we've bought 10 properties together over the past 2 years in real estate. I understand. I mean, we have similar personality types, but he is an absolute dog when it comes to people fucking with him. Because, he's been in that situation same as you, where he's had a partner that actually cost him money.
I think I know this guy.
Yeah. So,
I remember this story.
Yeah. So I know that story very well. But,
Yeah.
and this is where, like, me learning through consultation, like consulting friends and peers, has prevented me from learning from consequences.
Yeah, that's huge. Like people say, oh, learn from your mistakes and all that.
Yeah.
You can also learn from other people's
100%.
mistakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's where I think like being surrounded by a lot of A players, like you said, they've been there and done that.
Yeah.
And like if I ever run across a situation where I'm like, hey, this is what I'm about to be doing, like, what do you think? Like,
Yeah.
And they'll be honest with me. Like, and the cool thing about it too is it's not just one A player that I ask. We have like a dozen A players in here that would have different opinions, and then it's up to me at that point in time to make the decision.
Yeah.
But
you gather the info, gather the data,
100%.
and then you make the decision.
100%. And I think that's where I'm very blessed, where I've been surrounded by the right people, where I've been burned by partners in the past where, they just let me down.
Yeah.
But I've been, again, like I said, I've been fortunate enough not to have been sucked into it too much where it's cost me money. It's cost me time, which is money.
Yeah.
But I'd rather give up some time over,
money.
taking a $150K loss. You know?
Dude.
So
that 6-figure losses aren't fun.
no, they're not. Yeah, cutting those checks are
man.
brutal. I mean, you're eating ramen for the next year and a half.
So for me, like when that happened, like I was basically in do or die mode, you know, like, so that flip was sitting on the market and I was like super depressed. I was like, what is going on? And then when it finally sold, it was funny. Like I was so like, when the sale was like approaching, I knew I had to write $150,000 check. I was just like, I don't know what I'm going to do, blah, 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 blah. And then when it happened, I just snapped out of it. I was thinking, okay, like if I can't make money, I'm going to like lose my house. I'm going to go homeless. I'm going to like live with my mom.
Yeah.
And then I thought about it. And then I just thought like, okay, let's say it does, I live with my mom. Like, will my friends think I'm a loser? Like, will my girlfriend think I'm a loser? Probably not. My parents won't be ashamed of me. So what will I do then? It's like, okay, well, my credit's fucked. So I could just do sub 2. I could do creative financing.
Yeah.
I could just look for deals in wholesale.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, let's just do that. And then I was like, why do I have to wait till I go bankrupt to do that? Let me just do that now.
100%.
And then it just puts you in that like make it or break it mindset.
It's that
right?
push or pivot, right?
Yes,
That push or pivot that you
yeah.
mentioned. I mean, you obviously had a combination of that. You pivoted and you're like, you could have been down the entire time and been like, oh my God, cut that check. And then you could have been, depressed the entire time. But I think that's where it comes to being an A player. Like you realize what, you're about to have to, pay this bill. But you make that transition to where you absolutely crush it. Like, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to cut this check, but guess what? I'm going to make double that before then.
Yeah.
So I think that's a cool thing about being, surrounded by like-minded people.
Yeah. Have you ever been in that kind of situation where it's like do or die? And if so, like, how did you respond to it? Or like, how did it make you feel at that time? And what was your worries and all of that?
So, this is going to sound very like arrogant, but fortunately for me, I've never been in a situation like that.
I mean, that's good.
Yeah. I mean, I've never been in a situation where it's been do or die, where, at least financially I'm at risk to, going bankrupt or anything, because I'm very strategic in the way that I handle my money.
Very.
And for me, when it comes to making a decision financially, like I run my scenarios like about 10 different times, worst case scenarios, even if it's a positive thing, like any sub 2 I buy, like, even though it's a banger deal, like you're getting a sick property, it's gonna cash flow $1,000 a month. Like I run it like 18 times. Like, okay, what happens if this happens? What happens if this happens? So for me, I think that's why I think Luis and I get along so well, because he's very much like you. He's like just kick down doors and run through the building. I don't care what's on the other side.
Yeah.
For me, I'm like, okay, let's crack the door open. Let's see what's in there and then figure it out.
Yeah.
But
and there's definitely pros and cons to both.
100%. Like for me, obviously there was a time where I was getting like,
analysis
paralysis. Yeah, exactly. And that's where I think I've kind of outgrown that now, where I'm very, I could pull the trigger immediately. But there was a time where I'd overanalyze things, like worst case scenarios. But then that also came with the mindset change. Like exactly what you said. Like, okay, worst case scenario, what if this happens? Well,
Yeah.
I could do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And it's just, comes down to exit strategies at that point.
Yeah.
For me, I always like to have 3 exit strategies for anything that I do in life.
Okay.
Like, that's the most important thing for me.
Three like exit strategy. Like, can you name, I guess, any examples of those?
Yeah. So if let's say I'm buying a property, right? Let's say, it's a distressed property. Like I'm buying it to flip.
Yeah.
So obviously option number 1 is flip it, sell it. Option number 2 is if if the market pivots how it has, I have the ability to DSCR it or turn it into a rental.
Got it.
Option number 3 is I go creative with it, turn it into a pad split. I don't know if you're familiar with pad split.
Yep.
Yeah, because so I turn it into a pad split, maybe an Airbnb if it qualifies. We don't do illegal Airbnbs out here. But
Of course not.
yeah, of course not. No. But so I like to have at least 3. So those are the 3 strategies if I'm buying a distressed property.
Okay.
So like the one, I'll show you the townhouse that we just bought. Luis and I actually partnered on this one.
Okay.
The reason we bought it, we got it at a smoking deal. Again, it comes down to reputation. Like there were 2 other offers substantially higher than my offer, but the agent talked to their client and they're like, listen, like these 2 other offers, it sounds like they're just trying to wholesale it. Like Leland's actually gonna buy it cash, and he's closed deals with me.
Yeah.
So I was able to get the properties for $15,000 less than the next offer.
Nice. And that's on brand.
And
Guys.
that's the brand, yeah. So fortunately for me, so that with that property in particular, it's a townhouse. I would say not the greatest area, but it's a great community.
Yeah.
Amenities and everything. So first strategy, obviously pivot, to flip it. So that's what we're working on right now. We actually have our contractors at the property today.
Oh, nice.
Demoing it. And then in the event that it sits, we turn it into either a legal Airbnb or a long-term rental, which I've been. That's another thing is and Luis could vouch for this, is like I have a unique ability to rent properties pretty quickly.
Nice.
Like,
that's good.
A lot of our portfolio rarely sits vacant, and that's where I think my strength comes in as a realtor. I'm just able to utilize social media to fill vacancies and get people into houses who may not have the best credit. Like that's the other thing too, is like you
got to screen them well.
You got to screen them well, but it's just making pivots again.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nice, dude. Yeah. So I noticed that you're very calculated. And you're very smart with like, okay, if I'm going to do this, let me talk to like 8, 12, 15 A players and then make my decision. I'm sure when you've come across all these people, you've gotten advice. I wanted to ask you, what was the best advice you ever got in your career? And what was the worst advice you ever got?
That's a great question.
Yeah. And take your time. It's good. It's
good. Yeah. I mean, oh man. I mean, best advice I ever got was obviously from Josh. Oh man, there's a lot of those. Let me take my time with this.
I'll tell you mine is why you think of yours.
Yeah.
So the best for me was when I was making that switch from retail to investing. At first I was thinking about starting to flip homes in Vegas or even like in the East Coast or Ohio, like where everything is like $50,000, $60,000.
Yeah.
I thought about flipping there, and I was like, yeah, it's cheaper there. I think. Do you know who Alex Camacho is?
I do know.
Yeah. So he was in Hawaii and we're on a booze cruise. I'm telling him, oh yeah, I'm thinking about getting to flipping, but I want to do that. And he's like, why would you want to flip in a different market? Like, you understand Oahu. I'm like, well, it's expensive,
Yeah.
And he was like, here, what you want to do is don't worry about the money. Worry about finding a good deal. If you find a good deal, the money will come.
Yep.
And then I learned about hard money. I learned about raising capital, private money. And literally because I took his advice, I was like, all right, let me find a good deal. I found a good deal. And sure enough, the money came. Had I went to a different market, I probably would have failed hard because I don't understand that market.
Yeah.
And because I like took his advice, it gave me confidence into flipping in Hawaii, and it just blew up my career.
That's awesome.
So because I took his advice was, the best advice is don't worry about finding the money. Worry about finding a good deal, because if you find a good deal, the money will come.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, that's perfect. Actually, my best saying will actually correspond with yours. I mean, I think I said it earlier, but everyone knows the saying, jack of all trades is a master of none. For me, I mean, Josh, actually, I talked to him about this because I'm trying to learn everything. New agent in the industry. I want to learn sub twos. I want to learn flipping. I want to learn all this. Yeah. But there becomes a certain point where you have to hone in on your little niche. So Josh brought up a great story when I first joined the brokerage, where during this time, when everyone was buying crypto and doing all these other side missions, he stuck to flipping, which made him very successful. So having those blinders on and just blinding yourself from the distractions of the outside world is what brought him success, and that is the best piece of advice that I've ever gotten. I'm still working on actually implementing it, but for me, it makes a lot of sense because, you know, when I try to do everything, you know, it actually cost me a lot of peace. It cost me a lot of, you know, efficiency.
Yeah.
So that, again, that's where his piece of advice has allowed me to figure out how to delegate tasks out to where I'm efficient as hell. And obviously the worst piece of advice I've ever gotten, man, this is another good one. I mean, worst piece of advice I got, you know, stay in your comfort zone. Like everybody, you know, and funny enough, it's from my parents. Like, don't over leverage yourself. You know, don't take the risk. Like sometimes it's not worth the risk. And I, you know, fortunate for me, you know, I'm a gambling man. I always risk it. Yeah, we're in Vegas. Very on brand, right? But no, I'm always one to take risk. And, you know, I've been told in the past, like, listen, like, why are you going to take that risk? You're doing great. Like, even when I left healthcare, like, people were like, Leland, you're doing fantastic. Why don't you, you know, you continue to do that? And, you know, for me, it's like that negative talk in my head, it probably wasn't, you know, to put me down or anything.
Yeah. But it probably came from a place of love.
Yeah, 100% it probably did. But for me, it was probably like the worst piece of advice that I've ever heard because my entire life has been nothing but risk. I mean, moved to Vegas, you know, or moved to Colorado, you know, not knowing anybody, went to school in Colorado. Then, you know, parents came up to graduation. They're like, oh, are you going to fly back home? Like, no. Bought a car in Colorado, drove my ass to Vegas. Stayed in hotels for a month while I figured out where I was going to work.
Wow.
Like, yeah, and using all my comps because I didn't want to pay for anything because right out of college, like, you have no money.
Yeah.
So, like, my life has been nothing but a risk. And, you know, fortunately for me, you know, by the grace of God, you know, I am, you know, doing very well for myself. Let's put it that way.
Really well.
Yeah,
well, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Because I always like to ask people, what was the best advice? What was the worst advice? Because, you know, we're always getting noise from people. And I think part of the hard part is just, like, learning to filter out which is, you know, the one you take, which is the one you ignore, you know. And, like, even for me, like, the worst advice I ever got was be realistic. And what's funny enough is we were talking about goals. Like, I think this was like my first, or like, I think the first year I made 6 figures as a retail agent. And then we're planning for next year. And then at the company I was at, we're talking about our next year's goals. And I was like, okay, this is my production. This year, I want to make it like that. You know, I want to double it. Not even 10x, just double it. And this motherfucker says, like, ooh, like, you know, like, when it comes to goals, Jeremy, like, you want to be realistic. And then, like, I was just looking at him. I was just like, holy fuck, get out of my face, dude.
And that's when you know you're in the right rooms or the wrong rooms. Because the right rooms will always push your limits. And I've learned that is, like, whenever I bring up an idea to like anybody in here, like, if I tell somebody about my idea, they're like, why are you dreaming so small? Like that's the hardest part for me because it's like, why am I dreaming so small? Like for instance, like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy, you know, funny enough, I had no intent on building my rental portfolio in the past 2 years. But funny enough, you know, my goal was to buy 2 properties a year from last year. And then, you know, I was told by multiple people, like, only 2? Why only 2? Like, I'm like, you're right.
Dude, that's the difference between, like, so much, like, production and just being so stagnant, you know? Because, like, it's funny, living in Hawaii, whenever I tell my goals to people, I've never got someone ever one time just saying, why are you thinking so small? It's always like, wow, dude, you're crazy. Like, that's insane. Like, and that's crazy how you always get, why are you thinking so small?
And I think it just comes down to, like, the people you surround yourself with. I mean, believe me, if I said this, like, 4 years ago when I was in healthcare, they would have been like, oh, no, that sounds like a great idea. Like, I mean, that sounds like great. I mean, I want to make $150,000 this year. Oh, yeah, you'll make that, no problem. Like, but now I surround myself with people who are like, that seems very small for what you're trying to do. And then the cool thing for me is, you know, I'm beyond blessed that I've gotten, you know, the credibility that I've gotten, you know, in the short time that I've done this. But, you know, I've also worked very hard. And I think that's one thing, you know, people have to understand is, like, with the credibility, notoriety, and everything, there's a lot of hard work behind it.
There was a price to be paid.
Oh, 1,000,000%. And people fail to realize that. And, you know, being surrounded by people who consistently push you, there are times where you feel like your goals are unattainable. So,
do you ever feel scared when you think about that? Crazy.
Every night. It keeps me up at night. Believe me. It keeps me up. Like, and that's the other thing too, is comparison is, like, the scary thing. Like, whenever you compare yourself with, you know, someone that's doing substantially better than you, it's like, it kills you. It kills your vibe. Like, I don't know what it is, but, I for one have learned, like, I stay in my lane, and
Yeah.
I focus on myself, bettering myself every day, because
100%.
everyone sees those sayings, it's you versus you.
Yeah.
And sure, I mean, it sounds great.
Yeah.
But when you stack somebody who's 21 years old, who's making $100 million a year,
Yeah, it's like, fuck.
next to you, and it's like, what was I doing at 21?
Yeah.
So that's the one thing that I always hate doing, is comparing myself to other people,
Yeah.
because there's always going to be someone doing better than you.
Oh yeah.
But you also have to realize there's 99% of people who are doing way worse than you, who wish they were in your shoes.
Oh yeah, like kind of like what you said earlier. It's like, oh yeah, people see the glamour of our lives, but they don't know there's a price to pay. The same could be said when we look at the people above us.
Yeah.
Like we look at them, it's like, dude, they're fucking killing 100 million.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure we don't know about the many sleepless nights or the crazy shit that they had to go through too, right?
Yeah, and you also don't know what people are going through in like real life right now.
Yeah.
So that's why for me, I try to never judge anybody.
Yeah.
And if they're doing great, they're doing great. You have to give people their flowers where it's due.
100%.
And but it also comes down to being authentic as well. Like a lot of people like to put on personas, like, oh my God, I'm this guy, yada yada yada, I'm the big guy. And that's fine and dandy, but it only gets you so far. Like being authentic in any industry is the most important thing, in my opinion. Like if people peg you as being a fake person, bro, like that spreads like wildfire.
Oh yeah.
Same thing as like your word, right? If I go around sending offers to everybody 10,000 higher than what I could buy that, and reducing everybody, guess what? That's gonna spread like wildfire. Each brokerage has 400 agents. You're gonna be like, watch out for this guy. And it's like, okay, 400 agents burned right there.
That's funny you say that, because like I think when I start to get really into social media, I did notice, like, people put on this persona and all that, and I noticed that, and I was like, I always want to be different when it comes to my brand and all that. Like, I'm sure you've seen it in my YouTube videos and my content. Like, I kind of like to do the reverse. Like, instead of like coming out like I'm a big shot, I really like to play dumb and just dumb myself down. Like, I always make jokes like, oh, like I don't know shit. Like, I'm a stupid guy. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. You know? Like, I of course I know what I'm doing, but I'd rather put out that I'm less than what I really am than 100%. Put out that I'm more than what I really am.
It comes down to over-promising and under-delivering.
Yeah.
But I think you do a really great job in bringing energy. I think that's where you succeed in, is because people want to be around you because of your energy. And that's the same thing as like everybody that I'm surrounding myself with. Is like, I think that's why we get along so well, is because like I like to surround myself with a very high energy people who are always optimistic, who are always trying to push the envelope for what's next. And it's just a great thing. Like when you surround yourself with those people, bro, you never get bored. You're always having a great time. Like I said, and when you're with A players, you're 100% at everything. Like funny enough, you're 100% in your business. You're 100%, going clubbing. You're 100% partying. You're 100% whatever. And I love that about being around these high energy people, which I really
dude.
Yeah.
So what you just said on what's next? I think we're coming up in an hour already. I don't want to make this too long, but
you're good.
What's next for Leland Wong, dude? What's your vision? Maybe like 5 to 10 years from now, like what are you thinking? Like what's next with business, personal, or whatever?
Gotcha. This is a great question. So I'm not thinking that far ahead, 5 to 10 years. Okay. I was thinking like 3-year increments.
Okay.
A reason being is I think 5 and 10 years, you change so much in a year.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it firsthand. So like my goals for 5 years right now are not even going to be. I'm thinking I'm gonna blow those out of the water.
Yeah.
So for me, I think in 3-year increments, my goal in 3 years is to be out of real estate. Like my goal is to build a company so strong and a brand so strong that I won't even have to deal with real estate unless I need to.
Yeah.
And then I want to be able to have the financial freedom to build other companies. Maybe again, that comes down to the entrepreneur spirit in my definition, where always learning, always trying to find the new trends,
always building,
and whether it's in real estate or not, So my goal in 3 years is obviously to be out of real estate, where my business is self-sustaining itself. I have the right people, put A players in the right positions, to help grow that business, and then pivot into another market or another industry, or maybe move to Dubai. I don't know. Shout out to Kalaya, I love you.
Kalaya.
But no, I just don't know. I mean, what about you? I mean, what is your vision?
I mean, for me, it's funny that you said like, oh, we change in a year.
Yeah.
So up until I was thinking about this heavy last year and early this year, I was like really getting into the whole flipping and the real estate, because I own my own brokerage too.
Yeah.
So I started thinking about like, okay, how can I like take this to the next level in Hawaii? Because like when I think big and I'm like thinking in Hawaii, it's hard to think big in Hawaii, like we were talking about earlier. But I was thinking, okay, maybe I could get the flipping down, get the brokerage down, bring on A players to my brokerage. That would be like the first layer. Second layer would be like, since I'm into flips and stuff, I could buy a construction company do my own flips, do other people's flips. Because as we were saying off camera, like when you're doing flips, there's no cash flow. Like you wait for that sell and then you get it. But I think I want to trend to like owning a business where there's consistent cash flow, things like that. And then, I'll do that. Have the real estate foundation. On top of that would be like the construction. Yeah. Then maybe 5 to 10 years later, I buy a hard money lending company. So I'm like very vertical integrated.
Yeah.
But I went to a conference.
Oh, here we go.
And they were talking about Dubai real estate. And
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap, just flipped my mind like a whole 180.
Yeah.
And shout out to Kalai for bringing me to that conference. But, I started researching about the Dubai market, real estate, business there. And I learned all kinds of crazy stuff that like, there's 0 property taxes. There's 0 capital gains. Real estate like doubles every 4 years. What else? There's no minimum wage laws, so it's like you could like do so much with like business over there, So now I'm gonna go there in December to check out the stuff, and we gotta.
There we go.
But yeah, just thinking about that. So now like I'm like, let me just focus on like what I'm doing now with like all the flips and stuff, and then like once we cross that bridge about doing business in Dubai. Then maybe you could start planning goals. But I really love how you said you only think of 3-year increments.
Yeah, the 5-year and 10. I've learned this after I got out of healthcare because when I was in healthcare, it's very set for you. Like 5 years, I'm gonna continue doing the same thing, and then 10 years, I hope to retire, whatever it is. Yeah. But being an A player, being your business owner yourself, like I said, you have to think in like 3 years, not even 3 year. I think 2-year increments. Yeah. Like, to be honest, because. The market pivots, especially in real estate, so drastically that you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Yeah. Like, who knows? The market might crash.
Yeah. And then you have to plan your next like 5 moves after that on that situation.
Yeah, 100%. So, I personally think in 3-year windows, and that's I call it my long term. My long term goals. But obviously, I know that that's not the best way. And I agree with you 100%. You have to live in the moment. Yeah. And that's why for me, my mantra right now is just, live it up. Like,
live it up.
Enjoy what you have now because, anything could happen tomorrow.
And Leland's definitely living it up. What time did you sleep last night?
I went 5 a.m. 5 a.m. It was a great time.
I flew in here yesterday morning, and I was like, okay, first day I'm going to settle in, not do much. Hey, what's up, Luis?
Yeah, we got Luis in the house now, so this is good. We're just talking about you, too. Only bad things. No.
And, I was just going to settle in. I wasn't going to go out. And then, that's why this morning I could be ready to go. But Leon's like, no, dude, I slept at 5 a.m. Yeah. Ready to go at 8 a.m. I'm like, damn, like, you guys are wild here in Vegas.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just been recently. I mean, like I said, I've just kind of made a pivot in my life where it's like, I have to enjoy it. Like, believe me, I mean, Luis knows this as well. It's like, before, like, maybe a year ago, like, I was very just workaholic. Like, I would just go to the gym, work out, come to work, get work done, and then go back home. That was my life. And then, a lot of things happen in life, and you constantly see things happen. It's like, okay, well, it's very short. Like money's great. You always make money, and that's a cool thing. But enjoying that and going out, having a good time, and spending it with people are the best thing. So
100%, totally agree.
Yeah.
Well, as we conclude, I got one more question for you, for those watching, who are like maybe new or aspiring entrepreneurs. Maybe they want to be a realtor, be an investor, and they're seeing you, listening to your story, and they're like, okay, Leland Wong enters the market as an agent year 0, owns a Lambo in year 3, and they want to study your blueprint, right? What is the best advice from you to them about how to do what you did?
I mean, it sounds very like cliche, but just work hard. I mean, you just got to outwork the person next to you. That's the most important thing, and do things differently. Like, don't just follow the crowd, be the black sheep. And always look for new ways to, elevate your business or your game. I think that's the one thing that I could recommend to any, agent starting today. And obviously, their journey is going to be very different than mine. I mean, I'm very different the way that I go about things, and, it could bite me in the butt, but so far it's been very successful. So, I think that's what I would recommend is like, just work very hard at what you're doing, and always be always look for opportunities and be the outlier.
Got it.
Yeah.
Nice, dude.
Cool.
Well, that was awesome, dude. Thank you so much. And thank you, Luis. Maybe we'll get one with him another day.
You need to, yeah. Could be good.
Oh, yeah.
But this is the last podcast in this studio. So next time Jeremy comes up to Las Vegas, we will be in the new podcast studio.
That'll be
where we will see where Jeremy is in approximately 1 year.
Okay, brother. Thank you.
All right, cool.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, bro.
Cool.